It's our 10-year wedding anniversary.
10 years.
Out of here for a little bit. Taking her out for a little bit of a trip.
And it's spring break, so I get the week off.
It is indeed spring break. So, are we back online? I think it takes a minute for it to come back on the other one. They may not have heard any of that. Where's my damn bumpers? There we go. Bumper. Alright, so what are we going to put over there? What we'll do is I will put... I know exactly what I'm going to put up here.
Ooh.
Exactly what I'm going to do. So what I want to do is capture...
Speak of the devil. I had an ad come up on my Twitch reboot, and it's Fate of the Furious.
Oh, shocking. Alright, I think what I'm going to do is...
Hello, Shoot Straight.
Hello, hello. We're about to get rolling.
Roll Tide.
Nobody else came back. See if Jessie did her blog right.
We've got 4 people watching, one of which is me.
If Jessie did her thing right, then we should be able to keep all of these in the same frame and watch a little SWTOR trailer time.
Awesome.
Which would be pretty cool. Hopefully those other guys come back because we'll be talking about them before they know it.
Nice, Mox.
Oh, what?
He said hashtag Stardust Booty.
Well, that's why I'm keeping it there.
Well, yeah.
No, I don't want to do that.
By the way, everybody needs to get on Jess to come to Comic-Con.
I'm going to leave it right there, I think. Alright. So... Stardust Booty. We're going to do a little mini trailer time with some community stuff today, I think.
Yes, we are.
Because you guys all got to do really cool stuff, and we're jealous, so we might as well highlight you and give you some props.
I know, right?
Right. Here we are. Alright. Oh, my thing hasn't updated. It still shows that 0 people are watching us. It might be up to a little bit.
I had to reboot. We're at 10.
Cool.
All right, let's get going.
We are starting now.
Do you want to fight?
That's the wrong trailer. Wrong bumper.
Blast escaped from the Death Star. That thing's operational.
Dr. Banner. Now might be a really good time for you to get angry.
That's my secret, Cap. I'm always angry.
Hello and welcome to episode 93 of the Usual Podcast. Podcast where we discuss Star Wars: The Old Republic, the Star Wars franchise, and geek and pop culture. I'm your host Marshall, and with me, making a weird face as always, is my co-host Will. What's up, buddy?
What's up? How you doing?
Good, man. Pretty amped.
I know. It's coming up on spring break.
Yeah, we're almost done for a week. So we're enjoying frosty beverages. We had a couple at dinner. What'd you drink?
Well, at dinner, I had a nice Blue Moon.
Yep.
So that was good. And right now, I am cooling it off with a nice IBC cream soda.
So do you know why I like Ninkasi Brewing Company?
Because they're funny with their punnies.
Oh, let me just show you what I'm drinking. I am drinking. It's a special release, and usually I like their Tricera hops. Right?
Tricera hops is correct.
See what they do there?
Yeah.
This one is called Velocihopter. Look at this.
Velocihopter.
See, because it's a raptor, but
it's hops.
I think they get it. But anyway, it's delicious, and I love it. So before we get really started, no, I don't even want to. We'll talk about it later. We're taking next week off. We'll talk about it later. Doesn't matter. So before we get started, if you have comments or questions, you can find us at theusualpodcast.com. Email us at theusualpodcast@gmail.com. And we are on Facebook, Google+, Pinterest, Instagram, Twitch, and YouTube. Thanks to everybody who's tuned in on Twitch. We love you.
We do.
I'm at Darth Pops on Twitter. Will is at I'm Will Griggs. We're on iTunes and Stitcher Radio and Google Play. We did get another 5-star review, so thank you
Boom.
to whoever did that. We've been at the same number for a long time, so if you could take the time to do that and retweet us and like us and all that stuff when you see us on the social medias, we would really appreciate it. And we have the timestamps in the show notes. If you're not a SWTOR fan, you're not listening to this live, you can kind of skip around a little bit. We have 3 sections of the show. We also have pop culture and Star Wars. So here we are. So thanks to everybody in the chat room. We kind of said that already, but you guys are awesome. There's some peeps from Unholy Alliance and Wookiee Mistake Guilds and some other podcast friends who will be highlighting here pretty quick. So I'm put Will in charge of watching Twitch chat. So if I miss something, blame Will. Hashtag blame Will. You're stupid.
Hashtag fair point.
Indeed. All right, man. So anything else before we get to Star Wars The Old Republic? Any housekeeping stuff? I guess we might as well say.
Yeah,
we have to take next week off. It is my 10-year wedding anniversary next week.
Yeah, it is.
And I planned a trip to take the wife out of town. So I'm doing that and not doing this.
Well, as well as your 38th birthday.
My 38th birthday is day after next. After this comes out, it'll be a couple days ago. But it's the Saturday, the 8th. And hopefully getting together with some friends and watching Ghost in the Shell.
Yep, that should be a good time.
That's the goal. So it's going to be fun getting older. We don't do the big parties and stuff, but it's nice to see a movie and have some dinner with some friends.
Yep.
So that's the goal of that day.
We definitely have the chill. Instead of having no chill.
Is that what the kids are saying?
I don't know. Actually,
I'm confused.
Wasn't it you who sent me that video of Mario with no chill? And he shows up to get Princess Peach.
Was that me?
Yeah.
It might have been me. Oh, right. Yeah, no. That was a good one.
You
okay.
stupid.
Yeah, that was good. All right. We don't want to... Don't give me editing already. All right.
All
right. So we should do Star Wars The Old Republic. We got a lot of cool stuff this week, dude.
To answer Mox's question, no, I am not house sitting this week. I do not have to get up at 7 a.m. for chickens.
Oh, did I mention that? No, I'm just kidding. You don't have to.
Did I mention your chickens will be dead?
And all the chickens died. Huh. Good name for the show. Here we go.
Oh, God.
You want to fight? I'm ready.
You do not have to stand against me. Instead, I will share all of this with you, if you will only kneel.
Okay. We are at Star Wars The Old Republic. Now,
We are really quick. I will say to Mox, yes, it is better internet. So I might just park the RV outside and just steal the internet.
our house sitter, you guys both house sat last time. Just come inside and stay or not. I don't care.
Yeah, that's true, I guess.
We have a whole house.
Ooh, showers.
I'm just saying, dude. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. Anyway, moving on. Star Wars The Old Republic. We have a lot of awesome people in our community.
We do. We were just talking. We went out to dinner as we usually do on a podcast night, and we actually talked about how incredible it is to have such an active community 5.5 years into a game.
And you know, I've been part of this community this pretty much this whole time, and you know, you see people come, you see people go, but at the same time, for the last few years, we've had kind of the same group of podcasters around, and the community team's been pretty, I guess, stagnant's the wrong word, but pretty consistent.
Stable.
And so it's been kind of nice to have that back and forth. So as we mentioned weeks ago, they started their influencer program, right? And, you know, we are not 100% in yet, although we've been considered.
We are in our trial period.
Well, maybe. But I don't want to get too far into that. But the bottom line is hopefully we can participate the next time they do something really cool like this. But so what they did is a lot of the influencers got to go into the PTS and film, record a bunch of the op stuff for the new op, the Tithe Boss.
Yes.
And so I have a link in the show notes to Jesse's blog, Stardust Legacy's blog, and it has a really nice list of just everybody's videos and stuff. We're actually going to go through a couple of them because they're like really cool little promos that are pretty short.
Yeah, they are.
So if you're not listening to this live, let's do it this way. If you're not listening to it live and you're listening to this after the fact, and you have not joined in for trailer time, and you're not a patron, this is kind of what we do in our patron show. So we watch something together and we kind of talk about it. So we're gonna do this really quick. So some of the people that contributed were Bad Feeling Podcast. JT did some stuff, and Jesse, and all kinds of people. So we're gonna run through some of them. This first one is from Jesse, and it's actually pretty fun. I've actually already watched this one. It's pretty cool.
Fine.
What? Fine what? I've seen it.
I know. I'm saying you didn't hold out for me.
Nope, never do.
Nice slow-mo.
RP walking. Oh, that's sick. So bummed I didn't get in there to do this.
She totally videoed herself falling.
Oh, that was pretty cool. Oh, the little roll at the end, that was sick. So before, we get going here, one of the things I didn't get an opportunity to do was, because usually they were running before I could,
Right.
was that I had access to the PTS and I could have gotten in on some of the stuff, but it was kind of a bummer not being able to just because of timing and stuff. So next time for sure, but that kind of stuff for me makes me happy.
Yeah.
So let's check out. So we also have a couple contests coming up here in a minute, but we'll get to that. Let's go to the next one here. This one is JT's trailer, which I'm excited about just because I like trailers. I feel like it's SWTOR trailer time,
I know, right?
which is exciting.
The situation on Iokath has changed. As Alliance Commander, you have sent your forces to investigate. Upon arrival, ships from the Republic and the Empire have amassed in orbit. Mysteriously, no fighting has broken out. Something, or someone on Iokath, is seemingly behind all this. One thing is for certain. The war for Iokath is coming.
So that's JT, who is actually in our chat right now under Corellian Run Radio.
Nice voiceover, dude.
But I would like to say one thing to JT. I am jealous as all get up for your video card.
Yeah, no, it looks good, dude.
That is clean.
So Bad Feeling is the last short promo one we have. There was some other folks that did some full-on walkthroughs and stuff, which I'll talk about here in a second.
Right.
That's later in this blog post. But a big shout out, obviously, to all the influencers. You guys are all great people, and I'm so glad that this is happening. It's pretty cool.
Yes, very cool.
So let's check out what Bad Feeling did. I hear there's some epic voiceover from Chuck. It makes sense because
Yeah, well, okay, well,
the low res.
give you a little thing if for those of you who aren't in the community. Bad Feeling is a podcast out of Austin, Texas. It's hosted by a couple of guys named Chuck and Brian, and they are hilarious. And Chuck actually comes from they both come from a radio background, and so their production value is pretty good. But Chuck has an ultimate radio voice, and so he does.
Plus, he's like a metalhead and all this other stuff. Like,
Yeah.
it's just really cool. Like,
he's got
listening
an
to him
epic
talk.
beard.
Yeah. Oh, the beard. Oh my God. One day I'm gonna meet those guys in real life. One day, and I'm gonna hug them because they look huggable. Did I say that out loud?
Yeah.
No. Where does that leave us?
That leaves you not hitting play yet.
Well, I'm trying to adjust it. There we go.
From the legendary studio of BioWare, coming April 11th, an operation 2 years in the making. God's Full Machine. Battle the droid armies and unravel the mysteries of Iocath. Choose your faction and punish your opponents in a new daily area featuring open world PvP. Reunite with beloved companions Alora Dor and Malai Quinn. Explore this new world and destroy Titan God of Rage as the war for Iocath begins.
So the chat pointed out, because I know there are some like full-on, I don't know, 4K. I don't even know what that means, but 4K, like I guess it's Kid Lee and who was the other one? Sotor Central. Their links are in here as well, so we'll definitely give them a shout out. So I'm just scrolling through her thing. I think the rest of them are pretty long.
Yeah, I'll actually say that.
Look at some of these pictures, though, dude.
Yeah, that was pretty good. Except for, was it just me or was their background music a little too loud and it was covering up Chuck's voice?
A little bit in one part, but we're not gonna hold it against them. They're okay. So I'm gonna have a link to this post in here. But like I said, there are some folks who did some much longer operation walkthroughs and stuff like that. And I just don't want to forget anybody. So let me just make sure I got everybody here. Official teasers. Where's the other ones? They all messaged me. I want to make sure I give everybody their love real quick.
You have no problem giving everybody love.
Right. So I know, so Kid Lee, definitely. I'll put a link in the show notes to that. He sent me a message.
And he's also in chat?
Yes, he is. So he has some, let's see, Tithe cutscene, if we want to show that on air, he said. I think we do. I don't know why we wouldn't.
I know, right?
Let's do that. Copy. I feel like I'm limping through my life right now. Hold on.
It's because you're getting old.
No, look, man. Not all young spring chickens. Can't wait for my character to walk up like that.
We are not ready.
Rise, son of rage! Let their sacrifice fuel our awakening!
I'm gonna say that looked pretty damn good. I'm gonna say that.
Yeah, nice glowing red eyes, Kidley.
And the other video here, sorry, I'm behind on watching them, but let's see what else we got here. What was your other one, Kidley? Copy. What's happening? Can't seem to get. Oh, there we go. I thought he had a walkthrough one that I wasn't gonna do because it was long, but let's see what we got here.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kid Lee.
Oh, yeah. So I'm not going to play this whole thing. But yeah, I heard from some other podcasters tonight on the last couple of days because people were putting out their content a little earlier than us, of course. But this is his walkthrough. And again, I'll put a link in the show notes for this. And this is walkthrough for the new op, Tithe. It's pretty cool. So
very cool.
That is badass. And what else do we have? I hope I'm not forgetting anybody. Was there something? I really just don't want to forget. So just give me 1 second. Don't rush me. You're rushing me, bro.
What am I doing?
I'm just messing with you. But yeah, man, I think that is...
Except for staring at you judgingly.
I think that's everybody that I was going to say tonight. All right, guys. So that is it for that. Real quick, I want to give a shout out to Passionately Casual Podcast, their latest episode. If I remember to put all these links in the show notes because I just finished listening to this. I'm going to play their promo for their contest here in a second. And I need to hype Bad Feeling Podcast's contest as well. But they interviewed, Passionately Casual interviewed Mark Thompson.
Oh, nice.
And it is a really good interview. I'm super jealous. He is like...
He's one of your idols.
Well, if you could do a Han Solo like that, you would be...
He does a good Han
You'd
Solo.
be my idol too. I'm just letting you know. But the interview is really great, and that the whole episode was great. So definitely check that out. If you're into any of the Star Wars audiobooks, you can also get them for free
by going to the usual trial.
audibletrial.com/usual podcast. Boom, we got it. And then check out any of them, anything by Mark Thompson. Let him listen. He's narrating the new Thrawn novel, which comes out on the 11th, which I'm super stoked about. I already pre-ordered. I can't wait to download that. I'll be listening to that probably on my return trip, which I can't wait for.
Yeah, this week I'm going to be reading/listening, whatever I want to do, to my favorite author, Steve Berry's new book, which just came out on Tuesday.
Indeed. So, Passionately Casual Podcast, SWOTOR Escape Podcast had a good episode as well. And what was the other one? And Curly and Run also had a new episode this week. So definitely check out all our SWOTOR peeps. We're spending a little extra time here. We don't have a ton of SWOTOR news, mostly because the dev stream that was supposed to go today is going to go tomorrow. So by the time you listen to this, it would have happened a couple days ago, and we'll cover it eventually because we're not going to record again for a while.
Tomorrow by 2 o'clock, I'll be hip deep in track weather.
Hip deep?
It's going to be rainy, dude.
It's been nasty today. But anyway, hopefully we don't lose power. That's the thing. So that's the reason I'm spending more time in the community section.
Right.
Mostly it's because we don't have a lot of news. We'll be out of SWOTOR here in a minute, but I just wanted to give some love to some people who work really hard on those videos and really make a point of helping everybody else out, which I really like about our community.
Absolutely.
All right. So what'd you do in game this week, my friend?
Honestly, I did not get a chance to sign in at all. It's been a really busy week.
Tell me about it. I even missed WOG somehow. Now, let me tell you how I missed WOG.
How did you miss WOG?
I didn't, technically.
Sure you didn't.
So here's what happened. I signed myself in as a maybe on the site.
Right.
Because my wife was out of town. She was doing the Spartan race last weekend, and I wasn't sure I was going to get the kids down in time, blah, blah, blah. So after all that was said and done, I got them down in time and was ready to go, but they had enough people, and I felt bad.
Did you get booted?
I elected to back off because I felt bad. But the bummer part is Jessie was there, and she was looking forward to running with us, and neither of us were there.
Yeah.
But the run went well. They tried Scum and Villainy, I believe. Scum and Villainy. They got through a couple bosses, and they had I didn't get a follow up for what the cleanup night was. But I think the next night they tried a few more bosses. But
cool.
There's so many bosses in that one anyway. So, like I say, yeah, no, I'm gonna clean that up in a minute. But like I said, tomorrow I will definitely be in WOGland. So
very cool.
What do we want to put there instead?
I will not be in WOGland because I'll still be at the Trek meet. It's called Twilight for a reason.
Indeed.
It's at night.
What do we want to put there instead?
Fully ogged out.
All right. Well, while Mark was deciding what to put in our screenshot area, I will tell you that.
How about that bad boy?
That's pretty cool. I will actually just say that I'm going to, if you remember the lore podcast that I listened to.
Oh, we forgot the contest.
I have actually only 3 more episodes left.
Of what?
That lore podcast.
Oh, nice. Good. Then you'll be current.
Dude, I've been binging it.
Okay, before we forget and get out of our community section here, we have Passionate Casuals promo contest. And before I play that, Bad Feeling is doing another contest. And it's for 200 million credits.
That's a lot of credits.
So do you want to know how you can win that much credit? That many credits?
Well, I would like to know how one could win because I won't be winning it.
Why not?
I never win
Don't put yourself down, dude. You could do it.
No, I don't win contests. I am the RNG king, though.
You're the winner on that. and we'll talk more about that later. Bad Feeling Podcast is doing $200 million, $2 million credits.
200 million credits.
You need to send a screenshot of the boss kill of the new operation, Tithe. Okay. And you have to send that in to Brian at badfeelingpodcast.com, and be randomly selected entry will win 200 million in-game credits. And story mode counts as 1 entry. Hard mode counts as 2. You can enter as many times as you want. You send a screenshot. I think you can enter as many times as you want. And the contest will open April 11th and close April 25th. Yeah, it says you can submit as many entries as you want. All servers are eligible. So boom.
Yeah, that's really cool. I don't think I've ever had a total of 200 million credits in my entire gameplay.
I had almost 100 million recently.
I think the most I've ever had is like 12.
Indeed.
Oh, and I only did that because I had to get the wealthy 10 million credits, the wealthy achievement.
So WOG is going to be running. Oh my God, I'm not going to be there. Oh, that's going to suck. But WOG is running the first week. It comes out on, I guess, Friday. Then what is that? The 14th.
Friday the
14th.
14th, yeah.
Running Tithe. So that's your first opportunity.
Ooh,
if
I
you
could
want
do
to
that
do
because
WOG.
you're out of town and I am off, so I can come over here and use your Wi-Fi.
Yeah, go ahead and do that.
That is a hesitant maybe there, JT.
It's a strong maybe.
It is. It's not even. It's a strong maybe.
All right, let's play this last promo and get to some quick news, and then we'll get out of here.
Awesome.
Hey Star Wars fans, Passionately Casual Podcast is excited to announce a contest in conjunction with our recent interview with audiobook narrator Mark Thompson.
To enter our Fly Casual contest, all you need to do is record our closing tagline.
Keep on playing, and, I don't know, fly casual.
In your favorite voice, Star Wars or otherwise. Email your entry to passionately.casual@gmail.com no later than April 16th.
One entry will be chosen at random to win the grand prize, a CD copy of the new audiobook Thrawn by Timothy Zahn, voiced and signed by Mark Thompson. Second place wins a digital copy of Rogue One from Disney Anywhere, plus 3 runners-up will each receive codes for 450 cartel coins. Full details at passionatelycasual.com.
All about community today. Guess what? I already know what voice I'm going to do.
I'm really jealous that they got Mark Thompson to say their tagline.
You should listen to the interview. It's even better.
Is it?
Yeah. Every once in a while he'll slip into some voice. It's sick. But I think I might send him in. I think I'm gonna send one in.
Are you?
The only voice I can do.
Which is?
Well, if you knew me, you would know. I don't want to spoil it on the air because I don't want to mess. I don't want to,
Misa, no.
Oh, for God's sake! It's a ladies' man, dude.
Oh yeah.
Ladies' man. I'll do it. You'll get an entry from me, kids.
I'd like some Cavassier.
No, I'm not doing it now. Okay. All right. So let's get to the dev tracker stuff real quick. So there was a couple things. Choosing a faction on Iocath. Now, as you know, you're looking at me like you don't know what I'm talking about.
I'm waiting for you to say something.
Okay. As you know, you can switch factions on the planet, right? It's story specific. So with a character, at some point, you're going to have to choose which faction you fight for. And again,
right,
you can choose the opposite faction if you wish.
Yeah.
So we talked about this the other day. So this is from Eric. He says, as we mentioned in our PvP post last week, and on our original 5.2 live stream, when you arrive on Iocath, you'll be able to choose a faction you want to side with for the war on Iocath. We know there'll be many questions, so here's the first thing. The faction you choose has no effect at all outside of Iocath. It also impacts story choices on Iocath's storyline and future stories, and some gameplay impacts on Iocath.
Yeah.
First and foremost. Okay. Then it says then they start talking about specifics on mechanics. Okay. So the main thing it says the faction choice you make during the storyline does have story consequences, so choose carefully. This is a choice that will be remembered in future storylines. Okay. And it says after the story, your current faction will determine what base and daily missions you can access. Okay. So you only have access to one or the other.
Right.
Okay. Completing a daily mission will award you reputation for your chosen faction rep on Iocath, and killing enemies can drop reputation consumables for your chosen faction. And in open world PvP, players' allies and enemies are determined by their currently selected faction.
Okay.
So there's a couple things with this that I want to talk about in a minute. If you do anything off Iocath, such as war zones, operations, etc., your class faction will determine things as normal. Okay?
Gotcha.
The one thing I didn't say is this. You'll be able to choose which faction you want to side with initially during your character's storyline on Iocath, but once you've completed the storyline and have access to the daily area, there's a terminal you can activate to switch sides once per day.
Oh, okay.
Using this terminal does not override your story choices, but it does allow you to join your friends and play the opposite side's daily missions if you so choose.
Okay, cool.
So you're not stuck.
Right.
Is basically what they're saying.
But the storyline doesn't change.
Exactly.
So if you actually want to see all the different storylines, you're going to have to go through as both.
Get a new tune.
Right. Republic, Empire, Republic, Empire.
Exactly. And there was a couple questions about the operation, about Tith's operation. He says, Eric says, Tithe and the rest of the operation are just part of normal play, so the standard faction dictates your group.
Wow.
So, well, I had this little slip, and I was trying to go past it, but you brought attention to it, so here we are. So basically, if you're an Imperial, you'll be paired up with Imperials.
Okay,
because
gotcha.
it's a standard operation.
Oh, of course.
It's not going to be a mixture of which would be really cool if there was a bunch of people queued up for that operation, for example, and there were pubs, that were, I guess, choosing to be Imps and vice versa.
Well, I know. Can you imagine a sorcerer and a counselor going together, and you get force lightning and rocks getting thrown at you?
Some rocks, some lightning. That'd be sick. Anyway, little rocks, little lightning. So the major question that a lot of people had really was, how are we going to talk to each other? Because when you're on, obviously factions can't talk to each other.
Yeah, you can't talk cross faction.
And general chat, and how does all that stuff work? So Eric says there's a list of questions. The questions are, how will this impact group players if they choose opposite factions upon arriving at Iocath? So he says, if you choose opposite factions while grouped, it will allow you to make the choice and then remove you from the group. Does that make sense?
No, say it again. I'm sorry.
Okay, well, one more time. How will this impact grouped players if they choose the opposite factions upon arriving at Iocath? So if you're in a group and you get to Iocath in that group and they choose opposite factions...
Oh, you'll be kicked from the group.
It says if you choose opposite factions while grouped, it will allow you to make the choice and then remove you from the group.
Gotcha.
So, makes sense.
That makes sense.
How will this impact guild ship summons? Guild ship summons are based on your class faction, so that's going to act normal. And how will this impact chat channels? This is the big one. So chat channels are dictated by your normal class faction. You can, however, group with and chat with players based on your chosen faction.
Okay, so you in your group chat, you still have the same people in your group chat.
So again, if you are a mixture, you can talk to each other. They're not saying you can't talk to each other.
No, it's basically saying that the group chat overrides the class faction chat.
The faction choice once grouped up.
Right.
Yeah, I think. Makes sense. So you say it won't have impact beyond Iocath, but will it impact future story content? So they did have a little thing in there that said...
Well, it did say it will remember.
Yeah, so I think that he kind of addresses it, but kind of not. He says the future impact is story impact based on your story choices, not gameplay. So it's not like if you've been on the Imperial side doing a bunch of Imperial stuff in your Republic, but if you chose the other one, it's not going to mess with you when you get to the next part of the story.
Yeah, well, I think it'll probably just be that, Theron Shan might look at you a little bit more suspiciously.
If that guy looks at me sideways again, I swear to God, I don't even know what I'm going to do about that guy. Then there's a really good question about both faction dailies. So people are already trying to think, how can I do both sets of dailies in one day? Because you can switch once per day, right? And he says it's a good question, but currently the way it works is that once you have completed a mission, you're no longer able to switch for that day.
Right.
So that locks you out for 24 hours, which makes sense. I mean, otherwise people are going to cheese the system and be like,
oh yeah,
I've done all the dailies. I wonder how many dailies are going to be. It's going to be a lot, I wonder. Anyway.
Well, I guess you could, if you chose to do one, I mean, it wouldn't be 2 in one day, but if you did one right before the changeover and then you switch.
Well, what they're saying is if you choose to be Imperial and you do an Imperial quest, then you're locked into that one for the day. But then after 24 hours,
is it a calendar day or is it a 24-hour countdown?
However they do it in game now.
Okay.
Which I don't pay that much attention to because I don't log in that much, to be honest with you. Anyway, so what else do we got, man? Is that it?
Yeah, that's it.
Are you excited?
I'm excited.
After seeing the Thai stuff in the community.
Yeah, no, it looks really cool. Yeah, I'm definitely. I really would like to join up with WOG next week to try it. So
yeah, we're coming up quick.
I'm hoping.
Yeah. Well, anyway, have fun without me.
Well, we usually have more fun without you.
You're lucky I'm gonna let you get that little dig in there before I switch to this other bumper, my friend. You're lucky I like you.
I was raised to do one thing. But I've got nothing to fight for.
Nothing will stand in our way. I will finish what you started.
Sorry, I just want to change my change the screen and put something else there.
Yeah, no,
quick.
Totally fine.
Is it
we're
there?
onto our Star Wars
You
section.
giving me permission?
I am.
That's great.
Yeah, I'm onto our Star Wars section. We have a few different topics to talk about here. A couple dealing with Rogue One and one having to do with Alan Tudyk. And, of course, we've got to talk about some Celebration news because that's coming up fairly quickly. But while Marshall's doing this,
I got it. We're good. Don't worry. I just wanted to put some of the stuff I just want to put something up there. That looks cool, doesn't it?
It does.
Isn't that neat?
Yep.
You excited?
We should get sponsored by Funko.
Oh, Funko. Dear Funko. Stop ignoring my emails.
I know
Just
a couple
kidding.
people that work there. I could try to get a hold of them.
Well, do that because I'm not sending them any emails. All right, so there's a couple things here. Rogue One director Gareth Edwards reveals his biggest regret, and this isn't really what you think. And some of these comicbook.com things are very misleading. And by the way, guys, if you hear any background stuff, let us know, those of you in the chat, because sometimes little ads run and I can't catch them all.
Yeah, and comicbook.com is all about the clickbait.
Indeed. So one of the things that, and I read this article, let me figure out what he was saying. Okay. So he was talking to The Telegraph, and Edwards revealed that he had a tough time processing Carrie Fisher's death, which happened a couple weeks after Rogue One's premiere, right?
Right.
So he said, I have not really sat and watched the film since the opening weekend when Carrie was still with us. I just feel the whole thing was, to be honest, a big love letter to Carrie. What we're doing with the entire movie is all building to that one moment of the Death Star plans being handed to Princess Leia, where we hand the baton to her and go off to make that film that inspired us all as kids, which I love this part.
Right.
So it couldn't have ended better from that point of view. It's just sad. I was always thinking that I would get to meet her and talk to her at some point about it, and I never really met her properly. I walked past her once on the set of episode 7. I was meeting some of the crew, and she walked past me, and I had a little fanboy freak out. And he says, when it came to our film, it went so late, and with that shot trying to get it right, that Kathy took it down personally on the laptop and showed her. And initially, Carrie apparently didn't realize it was CGI and wondered if the footage, which we had taken from somewhere else, and we were sure, and it says, which was really reassuring for us. I thought one day, either at the premiere or one of these conventions, I get a chance to talk to her. And it's really sad that's not going to happen. So
yeah, that's unfortunate.
And the reason I put this in here was just, it was a really nice way of saying like how much she meant to him, even though he had never met her.
Oh, absolutely.
And how much having that scene of, and literally I didn't really think about it that way, but Rogue One is that hand the baton to what we now have.
Yeah, it's all building up to that.
And started the Star Wars fandom. So I thought that was really cool. So I don't know what NAB is. I have to look up at the acronym, but Rogue One and the visual effects are to be featured at the NAB show. And it's like, let me find the acronym. National Association of Broadcasters. And it takes place in Vegas April 22nd through the 27th. And apparently they're going to do this whole thing featuring a bunch of the special effects and stuff they did from ILM and all of that with Rogue One, which I think is pretty cool.
Very cool.
Yeah. So there's that. What else do we have? Oh, this isn't really a secret history. It's a very misleading deal. I'm not going to go into this, but Hal Hickel and Alan Tudyk reveal K2SO's secret history. So there's a nice little back and forth about how they kind of came up with the background. There was some things of like, should we take the Imperial symbol off of him?
Right.
Should he be beat up? Should he look clean? Stuff like that. And I thought it was just kind of a nice little behind the scenes kind of thing. So that's all I really want to say about it. But I put the link in the show notes for people that are really into that kind of stuff.
Cool.
But again, it's one of those things when you don't have a lot of Star Wars news, you grab for stuff. Right. But this is the bulk of what I want to talk to you about.
Yeah.
Because I think you're going to have an opinion.
I will.
Will you, though? Because if you don't, then this whole thing is for nothing.
I've got an opinion.
Okay, cool. So Hayden Christensen is going to be at Star Wars Celebration for the first time in 15 years.
That's big.
It is big. And, of course, it leads people to speculate that are they planning a Darth Vader movie with Hayden Christensen?
Oh, my gosh. Star Wars fans speculate on something?
Well, I'm going to pull something from this, and so before I get to what I'm going to read, what do you think? Is it just he just decided finally now it's time, or is there something else going on here? What do you think?
It probably a little bit of both. I mean, it's probably Hayden saying, okay, well, now that there's so much love and there's not such an immediacy to the backlash of his acting, that it's safe for him to come back.
It's been long enough.
Yeah, well, I'm almost positive, even if the guy who played Jar Jar, I'm drawing a blank on his name, were to come back, I'm sure it would be fine.
Ahmad Best.
Thank you, Ahmad Best.
God, I'm killing it.
But from Lucasfilm's point of view, they're probably trotting him out there to. I mean, I'm sure they've invited him every year, but they're probably trotting him out there to kind of gauge the reaction.
So what's interesting is this. This article does a couple things. It says the timing has us wondering: is Christian simply returning to Star Wars Celebration Orlando due to the anniversary occasion, or does the actor have a project with Lucasfilm lined up? And of course, could there be a Star Wars Darth Vader movie?
Yeah, well, we talked about a possible Star Wars Darth Vader movie last week.
And it goes on to say, especially now that the blockbuster geek films and more adult tones and ratings are proven product block. This is basically trying to lead us to a rated R Darth Vader movie.
Okay, that's not happening.
Of course it's not happening.
No,
which I think
Lucasfilm is not going to allow an R-rated movie.
But I think it's funny.
Oh no, I would love the concept, but it's not happening.
I'm still really, and by the way, Star Wars Celebration is next week, next weekend, right? And I'm really excited to see what comes out of that.
Oh, absolutely.
Because we're gonna get a ton of stuff, and since we're taking next week off, we're gonna have all that stuff for you when we come back. But if there's a Vader movie coming,
I think you would have to get Hayden Christensen back.
Well, that's what this is basically saying. If you do a Vader movie and you don't do Christensen, it doesn't make any sense.
No, you would have to do Christensen, especially. I mean, if you're going to do a Vader movie that takes place fairly recent to the ending of Episode 3,
right?
Then he would just obviously be playing like the David Prowse scenes,
right?
If they were ever to take the helmet off and everything, but you would still have to get James Earl Jones to do the voice,
right? And that's when, if he's in the suit, that's the
right.
the bottom line there, right?
Yeah, and that's the cool thing is that it's a way to it not always be Hayden Christensen,
right?
But he would still be able to act the body acting. Of course, the body language is just as important.
But I think if they're going to do a Vader movie, there's going to be maybe not flashbacks, but there has to be some sort of moments where he takes the helmet off and you see his face.
Oh,
and he's got to do some acting.
Oh, yeah, of course, absolutely.
Anyway.
And also kind of in touch with this, I've never been as much of a Hayden Christensen hater as a lot of other people.
Yeah.
I actually think he's much more underrated in his acting, especially if you watch a movie called Shattered Glass.
Yeah.
Which was a movie that was about a real life story about a writer named Stephen Glass who fabricated articles.
Okay.
He was really good in that. I actually didn't hate Jumper as much as a lot of other people did.
Oh, yeah.
I like that. But what I also love is there's this great video where it shows the way that he acts as Anakin, and it shows how Mark Hamill acted as Luke in Episode 4.
Right.
And it's like, oh my God, those were choices he made.
Yeah. Yeah. So
because Luke was just as whiny.
He was. And I think one of the only scenes, honestly, that I had a really hard time with.
And sand, it gets everywhere.
It's that damn love scene in Episode 2.
It makes no sense.
It was just so bad. But other than that, I didn't have as much of a problem.
No, because I will say that he and Natalie Portman had zero chemistry.
Yeah, but Episode 3, I loved Episode 3. I think.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, obviously there are moments where it's like, wow, he really went there. But overall, I don't.
Yeah,
hate
I
it.
think the only thing I didn't like about his acting in episode 3 was when Kenobi says, "I have the higher ground."
Oh God,
He
yeah.
goes, "You underestimate my powers." Sorry.
So you like the "I hate you" part? That was good.
Oh God, that was.
Okay, I guess we're remembering more things now that we've talked about it. Moving on, I don't know. I'd really like to see a Vader movie. I wouldn't hate if Christensen was in it.
No, I wouldn't
So,
hate it either.
so here we are. Send your hate mail to @WillGriggs on Twitter.
I am Will Griggs.
I am Will Griggs
Get
on
it
Twitter.
right. I want the bad. I want the.
All right. Well, don't send it to me because I'm not going to listen. Actually, I will.
Yeah, you will.
But Celebration is next weekend, man.
It
and
is. I'm excited.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what news comes out of that. So we have some exclusives and stuff. I've already got a picture up in chat for those of us watching live. There's some really cool stuff coming out of it.
Yes,
So.
very cool.
All right, so you have some comic stuff.
Yeah, Marvel announced today. A lot of people forget that before Dark Horse had the Marvel or the Star Wars comics for a long time, Marvel had them.
Mm-hmm.
But they also kind of bought that catalog along with it, and they're rebranding it as Marvel. And one of the things they're doing is they're doing a 30th anniversary of Star Wars comics, right?
Oh, nice.
And so they're going to be doing that, but they're doing it in a Star Wars slipcase. So that you're basically just going to be getting a slipcase that has hardcovers of all the graphic novel versions of the films. It looks pretty cool. If you check out, if you check out my Pinterest in the next couple of days, the pictures of it will be posted.
Sweet. You know what I'm excited about?
But
we're yawning. We're
sorry
burping.
about Thrawn.
Welcome to Live the Usual. All right, so Timothy Zahn.
Yes, Timothy Zahn is awesome.
And Timothy Zahn, like we said earlier, April 11th, the next Thrawn novel comes out.
Yep. That is Tuesday.
And again, so when Disney purchased Lucasfilm, it says, so this comes along the same things we've been talking about. What they're pulling from the EU.
Right.
And making canon, right?
Yes.
So basically, Timothy Zahn says he has more Thrawn stories to tell. So I imagine if this novel does well, I imagine he's already working on the next one anyway.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah.
But
he likes trilogies as much as the next person.
Exactly. It says, so then they asked him to write a new book, and now the novel is set to be released. Zahn has turned his eye toward the future. It says Zahn has already written a Thrawn trilogy and a Thrawn duology, so why not write a quadrilogy this time? I don't even know if that's a thing. So an excerpt from the forthcoming Thrawn novel indicates the character has met Anakin Skywalker once before, and the story is one of the sequels he's pitching now. So I'm hoping, I like Timothy Zahn's writing, and
yes,
I love
he's very good writing.
and I really like Mark Thompson narrating the audiobook, so I'm hoping they do decide to go forward with it.
Cool.
And you know, if they ask Zahn to write some more books, he's like, oh, that character? Sure. Why not?
Sure, why not?
The Last Jedi news. What do we have? Oh, we talked about this the other day. The potential of changing costumes.
No, we didn't.
Didn't we?
Oh.
Yeah, we did. We talked about this a couple weeks ago. That there's going to be some costume changes.
Oh well, yeah. I mean, we knew that because of the pictures on the boxes of the.
Yes, indeed. But there was something specific on this that I want to talk about. Maybe I don't. Maybe I'm going to skip it because I can't find it now.
Okay.
Oh, that's not the one. Oh yeah, let's talk about this one instead because I don't care about the other one.
Yeah, tell me about what Benicio del Toro will be doing.
And so, okay, so I have some Benicio del Toro news later when it comes to Guardians.
Yes.
Because he's not in Guardians of the Galaxy 2, which we'll talk about later. But that said, he does have a role, which I totally forgot about, in The Last Jedi.
Yeah, I mean, he's one of the two big heavyweights we're bringing on along with Laura Dern.
Right. And so this says he did okay, so when The Last Jedi comes out this year, okay, so he says he's either named DJ or his code name is used by the production. He wears all black. He has a trench coat on with a Han Solo style belt at his waist to hold his blaster. And his hair is short. He also has a strange cap that doesn't have a bill to it. He looks slim and dirty, but the billless cap makes him look sort of like a throwback to a different era. He belongs in the criminal underworld by the looks of him. The man in the black style character we've heard about is certainly there, but his style evokes a few things in the design.
Interesting.
The editor also goes on to say his ship is real fancy. The cockpit is a very nice singular red seat for him to pilot from, etc. I don't want to get too much into this, but I'm intrigued to see Benicio del Toro in the Star Wars universe, looking badass, flying a sleek ship.
Fancy.
Is he is he gonna be a bounty hunter of some sort, or is he gonna, you know what I mean? Like, I'm really curious.
Well, the kind of way he's dressed, I would either think not necessarily a bounty hunter, but a smuggler or a I don't want to say mercenary.
Yeah.
But definitely
bounty hunter.
No, because I don't think he has. I don't think it's the skip jumper sort of vibe to a bounty hunter, but definitely a gun for hire.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's one of those people. Like if you need something moved from here to there, he'll get it done. If you need somebody found, he'll find them.
Bounty hunter?
That's not a bounty hunter.
I'm just kidding, dude.
I'm gonna put a boot in your butt.
I'm joking. Okay, so I'm excited to see Benicio del Toro in Last Jedi. I'm excited to see Woody Harrelson in the Han Solo movie. It's kind of cool to see these, like you said, these heavyweight actors in these movies and see what they can do. So I just really like Del Toro. He's a good actor.
Oh, he's a great actor.
And then we have, and I had a link to this too. We tried to watch it in trailer time.
Yeah, just skip it.
Should we just skip it?
Yeah.
No, fine. No, it's fine. I'll just keep deleting stuff.
I hate you.
We'll just delete all the things.
All the things we delete.
We'll just pretend like we have a show, but we don't. That's fine. I'm joking, by the way.
Yeah, you are.
All right, merchandise. Nope. One last thing.
There's two things.
Two more things. Alan Tudyk. So this is my question. Did you finish Rebels yet?
I did.
Oh, let's talk about it. Yay.
It is so good.
Yeah, we finished Rebels, and slight spoilers if you haven't finished this Rebels season, but we were a couple weeks behind anyway now that we were both caught up. So it ends obviously with the face-off between Maul and Obi-Wan.
No, that was episode 19.
What was the one after that?
The battle with Thrawn with the Bendu.
Oh, yeah, with the Bendu and stuff. That was badass. Okay.
So good.
So I really want to highlight I want to talk about the confrontation between Maul and Obi-Wan.
Exactly, because I actually also think this helps tie up some loose ends in the main trilogy.
I think it does. And there was a lot of flack, I think, when Maul came back. There was a lot of people who weren't stoked with him coming back after episode 1, came back in the Clone Wars, here he is in Rebels. I love his role in Rebels.
Oh, he's great.
Absolutely love his role in Rebels.
Especially in the scene where, again, spoilers and saying when
they all know.
Yeah, when Obi-Wan sends Ezra away, and Maul looks at him and says, "I'll see you soon, apprentice."
Yeah. Oh. Whenever he's calling him apprentice, because it just reminds
you that Ezra did kneel before him at one point.
And so I want to talk about that. Was it Twin Sons?
Yes.
Yeah, the Twin Sons episode. Just in case people haven't finished the last episode, I just want to kind of focus on that and we'll go forward. But the main thing for me that was the last fight, but also the pull of and the madness of Maul. Like he was really like, he started in a place, he was trying to get Ezra to help him. All of this stuff happens, but then when it comes down to it, he's kind of a mess.
Oh, yes. And actually, this is a great point to make because very much unlike how the Palpatine is so far thinking ahead, Maul is definitely in the moment. He's definitely chaotic evil.
Indeed.
Right? He doesn't look at his things. And so it comes down to that fight when even before it happened, Obi-Wan says, this isn't the way it should happen, but this is how it is happening. And he just was able to so calmly and rationally because he was able to look so far ahead in the Force and know what's going on.
And now I think the main flack for the episode, I think, is people are upset about the Ezra stuff. Like, I don't know, what did you think about Ezra essentially when they need him the most taking off and going and pursuing Maul anyway?
Well, this is also remembering...
Not Maul, Obi-Wan.
No, but this is also still remembering that he's still a Padawan. Okay, and I think this was because this is kind of like one of Ezra's motifs, right? This is what he does.
Yeah.
Right? And I think what this episode did was kind of put a stake through the heart of that. And now he knows, because when he came back, he said, "This is my family. Let's go protect my home."
Right. To me, it was reminiscent of when Luke is training on Dagobah with Yoda.
Yes.
Right? And he has that vision. His friends are hurt.
Yep.
And Yoda's like, don't go. It's not, just don't go.
Right.
And he's like, so I'm going anyway. And he goes and he pursues it. He kind of makes it worse. He loses his hand.
Yep.
It's a disaster.
Yeah, but if you remember up to that in episode 4 and most of episode 5, he's always that brash person to go. Like, he left with Obi-Wan. He joined
someone just said that in chat, actually. The Yoda thing. Anyway, continue.
Yeah, he kept making those rash decisions to go where his heart led him and not his mind.
Right.
But after that point, it was much more not stoic, but a lot more forethought was put into it.
Right. And so a couple other things I want to talk about with this episode, because I don't want to spend all day talking about Rebels, but when he does find Obi-Wan,
yes,
I love that scene.
And whoever they got to do the voice nailed Alec Guinness.
The name's out of my head, but I know who it is. It's just I can't think of it.
Okay, and really quick, I do want to put in an answer to JT's question that I have not seen the season 4 trailer teaser yet because I did not want to watch anything prior to not having watched the rest of it.
Right. So he finds Obi-Wan. Okay.
Yes.
There's this moment of, Obi-Wan's basically sitting there saying, he knows he's coming.
Yeah, he's like, hello, Ezra Bridger.
Yeah, he knows Maul's coming. He knows what's going to happen, but there was a lot of closure in this episode.
Yes.
When it came to the original confrontation when obviously Obi-Wan's a Padawan and faces Maul.
Yes.
And
where
then,
he was the brash one.
And then now he's looking at this disheveled, insane version.
Because the whole episode he's talking to himself.
Right. Version of what Maul is. And the fight scene, I'm glad, was exactly what it was.
Yeah, it couldn't have been drawn out.
My kids, and I think this is the perfect way to kind of nutshell this whole thing, is my kids saw it coming. And they were nervous. Maul makes them nervous anyway.
Right.
They hate every scene he's in. And so they're covering their eyes. And they're like, tell me when it's over. And I'm like, it's over. Literally like 2 seconds later.
Yeah.
And we rewound it a couple times. And they're like, wait, that's it? And I was like, but yes, that's it. And that's all there really needed to be. It was Maul rushing in, half insane, and the measured Obi-Wan, who was there to do what protect Luke.
Right.
That's his one and only job.
The closing scene of the episode was fantastic.
It's really cool when you see the baby Luke.
Yes.
running. Yeah, I thought that episode was brilliant. I really, really loved that episode.
Yeah, the
season was great.
Yeah,
overall.
the one thing I really liked about the episode is what it brought in and how it connected to episode 4. Is that prior to this, as far as we know,
I agree with chat. By the way, continue. Sorry.
As far as we know, the only people that knew that Obi-Wan was on Tatooine was Bail Organa, who you would assume told Leia.
Right.
Right. Well, maybe not even at this point, but after this point, it kind of forces his hand. And you've got to assume Mon Mothma and Dodonna, right?
Right.
That'd be about it.
For sure.
Right. Maybe Akbar, but that's about it.
Well,
but what happens
rank, yeah.
is, the command. But what happens is now Ezra outs it, and that kind of forces Bail's hand. So Bail tells Leia, and that's where we get into episode 4, where it's like Obi-Wan Kenobi, Master Kenobi,
you're my only hope. I know you're there, bro. Help us out.
Right.
Right.
Because if Order 66 had happened, how did anybody know? Especially if Bail died on Alderaan, and he hadn't told anybody.
Exactly.
There was never a clarification on how all of a sudden people knew.
Right. So, I think it was without talking about the last episode, I think the end of season 3 was great. Can't wait for season 4. Do you think that is going to be the last season? Or you think they're going to try to go to 5? I know I've asked you this before.
Yeah, no, I think
you've seen the end of 4.
I think it really depends on the placement of these Star Wars stories.
True.
In relation to it. And JT asks a great question about the Chosen One controversy, because that's one of the things that Maul asks him. I think Maul never understood that Anakin was the Chosen One. And I think Kenobi was just trying to give him some some closure before he died.
I don't know, man. I think because of I don't know. I think because of Obi-Wan's kind of view on the world, like he's asking if Luke's the chosen one. And of course he's going to say yes, because that's why he's there. That's why he's protecting him, right?
Well, no, because he's protecting him because he's a New Hope. They actually said,
New
Hope.
Sorry, New Hope.
Right, but the chosen one, because it references the prophecy, obviously, and the prophecy was always to bring balance to the Force.
But does Maul know the prophecy?
I don't know.
Right.
That's why I've always agreed with Qui-Gon's, even though he thought it was poor. I mean, the way that he thought about it was poor. I think Anakin was the chosen one because Qui-Gon said he was the chosen one because he was going to wipe out the Sith. Right. But that would not bring balance to the Force because for 1,000 generations, Jedi had control with very few Sith.
True.
But Anakin coming in brought balance to the Force because it brought the dark side up to be balanced with the light.
All right, I can see that. I don't know, man. I don't know. I think spending that much time on that planet, Obi-Wan kind of had his views kind of got shifted.
Oh, of course, his
are
a little shifted. I mean, he didn't go insane like
no,
Maul did, but
you know, that many years in the sand watching a kid grow up is going to start really kind of shifting your mindset on how things are working.
You're going to start messing around with some sand people.
And then there's sand people, and then that happens.
And that's where Leia comes, or for where Rey comes from. And
okay, let's not get carried away. All right, so real quick, Freemaker Adventures. I don't know if you've seen these. They're the little Lego ones.
They are. Well,
they're
Freemaker
adorable.
Adventures was actually the 5th season of the Lego Star Wars seasons. But it was the first of the Freemaker Adventures because, you know, they had Droid Tales. They had one starring Yoda.
Right.
And then this was the first Freemaker Adventures, but it's the first one that they're giving a sequel to.
Yeah.
So,
which is cool. Kid, we watch them all.
Yeah.
We love the Lego ones. Some merchandise stuff real quick. And if you're in the chat room, you can check these out with us a little bit. There's some exclusives to Star Wars Celebration. I'll just really quickly go through some of them. But we have some exclusive pop figures here. And this is... Sorry, I'm going to make sure I get that in there. And I can still click. So we have some pop figures. This is Hoth Leia, which I think is cool.
Yes.
Oh, that's sick. That's the hooded Luke from
Jedi.
Return of the Jedi. We have the only one I think I ever have wanted more than anything ever on this planet.
Thrawn.
Are you guys seeing this?
It's awesome.
I'm gonna scroll up that just a little bit here.
Yeah, there you go.
I just want to make sure I can still click. So are we? Do I need to look at any other ones, or we
keep going?
All right, moving on. Oh, that's cool.
The Rex?
Yeah. No, that was a 442nd Clone Trooper.
Ah.
And we got some green and gold Greedo 2-pack, which is cool. Some other ones. Oh.
Okay, that's awesome.
A Funko Jabba? Is that even a thing?
Hello, and Salacious Crumb.
Yeah. No, I'm in. That's cool. Oh, that one's sick too. Sorry.
Yeah, I do like
an audio medium. This doesn't make sense. So we have Raya the Speeder. This one, did we have this last week?
We did have this last week.
Yeah, this one is the Empire Spy from Episode 4.
Grindin.
Han Solo.
Yeah, because remember we had the Force Ghost
Right,
Qui-Gon.
we talked about, and so these other ones we've seen. Perfect.
Yes.
Cool. So what else do we have here? We have exclusive. So, this is what I was trying to talk about. Okay, check this out. Check this out.
Oh, that's cool.
And if you zoom in, this actually kind of gives you a little bit of Rey's new outfit.
Like, yeah.
Right? So there's a couple t-shirts here, exclusives from Star Wars Celebration. And if you follow the link, you can see she's in a very much a sleeveless, it looks like.
A sleeveless tunic?
Tunic, kind of a Jedi robe kind of skirt, maybe. Like maybe almost like kind of like what we're used to in Old Republic kind of thing.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool. That's what I was thinking about earlier when I was clicking on that other link. Let's see. This, I think, is the coolest thing here. Check this out. They're going to do a Ralph McQuarrie concept art for Han Solo.
Oh.
Look how badass that is. Okay, let me see. Sorry, chat. Can you see that? That is sick, right? Tell me that's sick.
I want that.
Not only that. Trash monster.
The Dianoga? That's awesome.
Isn't that cool?
Oh, please tell me the Dianoga has a blinking eye, though.
I don't even know. Dude. I don't know. It's crazy. It says it's a 1/6 scale jumbo series, includes foam trash and packaged in vinyl-inspired collector's box.
That is awesome.
That is pretty damn cool.
Oh, I will have to say, and this is actually more pop culture news than whatever, but one of the shows that I've been watching this season is MacGyver.
Yeah.
And the latest episode.
Are you really watching that?
Yeah, it's actually pretty entertaining.
Well, you say that, but
the latest episode, it starts off with MacGyver and his kind of handler guy,
right?
And they're in a trash compactor, and they're surrounded by a whole bunch of people that don't know they're in the trash compactor, but the trash compactor is closing on them.
Oh my god!
And they have to get somebody from outside has to hack the compactor and all this stuff. But they constantly reference the scene, and they keep trying to figure out ways. And their handler, who's not the smartest tool in the shed, he keeps trying to do things they did in Star Wars. He's like, "Don't forget that didn't work." And
that's awesome.
It's pretty funny.
Like getting the big stick and putting it
yeah,
across
exactly.
the thing. Yeah. So there's some Lego exclusives as well. There's a detention block rescue, which is pretty cool. I love the Lego stuff, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
and I just think this is sick. Oops, that was it. Detention block. Oh, that's the outside of the box. Is the inside. Looks cool though, man.
Yeah, that would be really cool.
That's a Lego exclusive for Star Wars Celebration. And this, I know that I said the other thing was the coolest thing ever. This might be maybe a winner. Winner chicken dinner, maybe. So there's a Star Wars turntable announced for the Record Store Day's 10th anniversary. So I guess this is a thing. 10 years ago, apparently, they started trying to recognize record stores and what they do for communities. Right? So this is the 10th anniversary, and they're going to do a Star Wars one. Look at that box.
Oh, it's like the old lunchbox.
So not only that, check this out.
2 turntables and a microphone.
Here, I'll do the big ones. Look at that. The coolest thing about it, though,
that is cool.
It's not just a turntable. It actually has modern day stuff. It's got Bluetooth. How sick is that, dude?
That is really cool.
So there was one thing it said, where is it? Oops, it's got to be on the first page. 1 second. It said, nope. Sorry for all the scrolling. It has, I just thought that this was kind of cool. It's $109, which, and it has featuring pitch control and Bluetooth capability. Designed to reflect the stylings of yesteryear, the Cruiser includes modern conveniences like dynamic full-range stereo speakers and a headphone jack and RCA outputs.
Nice.
It's pretty sick, though.
Yeah.
Right?
That's cool.
You don't seem as impressed as I thought you'd be.
Dude, we're in a digital age now.
Oh, you mean it's 2017? What?
Yeah, because, we've got flip phones and everything, like in Tokyo Drift.
I have a flip phone. I actually have 5 flip phones in that drawer over there.
I think I've got one in a drawer somewhere.
I have all my old phones. I don't like throwing stuff away like that. Okay, so we've talked about the Tron Light Cycle roller coaster before.
Yeah, it's at the new Hong Kong Disney.
Indeed. There is talk, and I've been listening to that Disney Dish podcast quite a bit, as I always do. But one of the things is, and I think this is part of the revitalization that they're gonna have to do with Tomorrowland,
right?
Because once they have Star Wars Land open, think about it. They have to take Star Tours out. That doesn't make any sense to leave there.
Yeah,
right?
It would only make sense to move Star Tours over there. Yeah.
Right. And so really all that's left in Tomorrowland is the Rockets, Buzz Lightyear, I'm thinking Disneyland here, Space Mountain. There's really nothing else over there. So
you've got the 3D theater.
Right.
And the Interventions.
No. I know there's other stuff there, but what I'm saying is
for rides.
Right,
gotcha.
So there's talk of the Tron Light Cycle ride coming to other parks.
Yeah, they could actually use the old rockets, the old rocket ride track.
Which is what they're saying. It's going to operate the Tomorrowland Speedway is located.
Yeah.
And as for Disneyland, the Star Wars Launch Bay is the proposed site. Because that's something else apparently that's going away when all this happens. The Launch Bay is going to be revitalized, and I think that is. I think that's where they're thinking about putting this.
Okay, cool.
Which is pretty cool. I don't know. I like talking about Disneyland.
So do I. And actually, I constantly talk about it because one of the things they're taking a lot of the space of Toontown away for Star Wars Land, and it makes you think, well, what are they going to do with Roger Rabbit's cartoon spin?
Right.
The thing that would make the most sense would be to move it over to California Adventure and put it in the Hollywood backlot.
Right.
But whether it's cost efficient or whether they're just going to leave it where it is and just kind of have it be a standalone thing and kind of include it in Fantasyland, I don't know.
And we've talked about this before, and this is the last thing before we get out of Star Wars. We've talked about this before. Is Toontown officially going away?
Yeah, well, they're getting rid of, like, Gadget's Go Coaster is going to be gone. A whole bunch of the houses are going to be gone.
What I'm saying is they're still going to have Toontown as a land, or is it just going to be like, I thought it was going away, but we keep talking about it.
As far as I know,
like,
it's mostly going away. I mean, it's going to have the entrance to it because
Right.
you have to get that to get up to the shops that are up there and Roger Rabbit.
Indeed. Okay. Cool, man. Let me find something else to put over in our little dealy thing there, and let's get to our last section of the shoe. What do you think about that?
Cool.
Except I don't know what else to put over in our little dealy thing there. Maybe. All right, let's move on and I'll let you talk about the sad stuff. Ready?
Yes.
Bumper time.
I can't imagine any kind of future where I'm a hero. Well, you know, in the future, none of you are heroes. You're legends.
By the way, that show just had its season finale, and it's amazing.
Yeah, I still have to watch it this week.
I watched it yesterday.
All right, so just today we had some unfortunate news that we lost an icon of comedy. Don Rickles, Mr. Warmth, died. It's unfortunate, you know, he was basically I don't want to say the inventor, but the perfectionist the person that perfected insult humor. And I mean, without him, you don't get, a ton of comedians we have nowadays. But, I mean, he just had such a long career, and he did other stuff too. I mean, one of my favorite gangster movies that doesn't get enough recognition, I think, is Casino. And he played the floor manager of the casino underneath Robert De Niro, so it's kind of cool. But a lot of people forget he plays the voice of Mr. Potato Head in all the Toy Story shows and movies.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's always hard to hear when stuff like this happens. But you know,
I mean, he was 90, I think 90 or 94, something like that.
And that was gonna be my point. I mean, it's not like he lived a short life or didn't do a lot for pop culture and where we're at in comedy and everything else. So, you know, it's as sad as it is. You know, what does Kevin Smith say? Big bucket of wind, right?
Cauldron of wind.
So we go from something sad to something absolutely hilarious.
Yes.
You know about this, right?
Yep.
So Shia LaBeouf, new film. I don't know what this film's about. Apparently it's about a soldier with PTSD. Something like that. One person went to the movies theater in the UK.
Yeah, they had one showing.
One
screen.
Yeah. And
one person went and saw it. Granted, this is the UK, so it's a smaller box office than you would think anyways. But still, that's pretty darn bad.
Right. So I put the Defenders thing up here, but I was going to let me cut off some of this or something.
But yeah, so the funny thing is this is in connection with the fact that Beauty and the Beast is still making money hand over fist.
No, for sure.
And I think Beauty and the Beast just won for the third weekend in a row. And I think it held off Ghost in the Shell.
Yeah, Ghost in the Shell didn't. I don't think it blew away the box office, but I think it's doing okay.
Right.
Does that look all right? I just want to put something cool up there.
Yeah, and that's at the UK box office. But
Indeed.
at the American box office.
But Shia LaBeouf is obviously a well-known eccentric. He's kind of all over the place. So I just think it's kind of funny that, sad. I don't know. That nobody went to see his movie.
Yeah, I know, right? But I would like to point out that Beauty and the Beast has now reached number 22 on the all-time charts.
Cool.
It's only a couple million behind the original Hunger Games and Captain America: Civil War to break the top 20.
Indeed. All right, let's get to TV. Doctor Who introduces the first gay companion. Okay?
Okay, I actually had a little beef with this.
So did the wife. And I read through this article last night because I was like, maybe she has a point. because think about it. We have
first of all, Captain Jack. Okay,
that's what I was just about to say.
Right, a companion isn't somebody who's there for like a whole season or whatever, because there are people that are companions for 1 episode, 2 episodes, 3 episodes, and Captain Jack is like 5 episodes or something like that.
Right,
and he is clearly ambisexual.
Okay.
He'll go with anything.
Well, so there's some caveats to how they're classifying this. Okay. This companion, she is the first openly gay full companion. Okay.
Full-time companion.
What they're classifying the other ones are, it says in the article, it says the Doctor has had non-straight guest companions. Captain Jack Harkness,
yes,
played by John Barrowman, which we talked about, was pansexual, though that partially reflects the very different attitudes towards sexuality that humans had in the 51st century, where he was from. River Song, the Doctor's wife, who was played by Alex Kingston, was bisexual. There were also some hints that the previous companion, Clara Oswald, played by Jenna Coleman, was bisexual, but Clara's sexual orientation was never addressed explicitly.
Right.
So this is the first time the Doctor's co-star, the lead companion, will be openly gay. So there's like, it's one of those things where it's like, this is official. The other ones were like, kinda, I guess.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
You have to remember, Captain Jack was like...
Oh, Jack's out there, dude.
Yeah, I know, but it was almost, 7 years ago now?
Yeah.
So it's like, come on.
No, I'm with you, but I just thought that was kind of cool. But
no, I mean, great
That's
that
fine.
they're... No,
it's fine. It's cool, dude.
I'm saying it's almost sad that it has to be actually honored.
No.
Now, you know.
No, I know, and I'm with you, and I get what you're saying. I was giving you a hard time, but I mean, I'm with you. Do we have to have?
You give me a hard time?
Okay. The fact that we're talking about this story is the issue.
Exactly.
Right, and that's what you're saying.
Yes.
New Mega Man animated series, which I'm pretty excited about.
I loved Mega Man as a kid.
I did too, and this one is aimed, I think, at 5 to 8 year olds. Let me.
So basically, us.
Yeah. Well, yeah. 6 to 9 year olds. It's targeted for kids 6 to 9. And for their parents who grew up loving the video games.
There we go.
So this is one of those things that I threw in here only because this is one of those shows I'm hoping I can watch with my kids. I loved Mega Man, and if they're into it, then that means I can also kind of enjoy it too. It's kind of like, well, I can give some other examples too, but I don't want to do that again.
Cool.
I've embarrassed myself in the past with shows I watch with my kids. Okay, moving on. Westworld creators say season 2 won't pick up where season 1 left off, so it's not going to be slight spoilers. If you watched Westworld, obviously it ends with
the uprising.
An uprising, and the next season's going to start a little bit later. So the uprising has happened, things are going on, and then it's going to pick up there. It's not going to pick up right where left off.
Well, it makes sense because if you're going directly with the uprising, then you've got to deal with the repercussions of the uprising.
Exactly.
Whereas if you go a little bit later, then you can actually delve into the other worlds of Samurai World and Medieval World,
right?
Because the androids will have already solidified whatever base they're going to have,
right?
And they can now explore.
Exactly.
Oh,
so
sorry.
The next thing is, and we were talking about what we're going to do on Saturday on my birthday, is watch Ghost in the Shell. Turns out, not the best opening.
No, I honestly didn't think it was going to have a huge opening.
Neither did I, but here we are. 20 million, it looks like it was on track for about $20 million opening weekend.
Yeah, not bad.
Yeah, not terrible, but not great either. It looks like the film cost $110 million to make.
But they're going to make more than that, more than that worldwide.
They'll get it back. Yeah, so there we are. I'm still really excited to see the movie.
Oh, so am I. I'm really excited for it.
Why don't you take the Get Out news?
Yeah, we talked about it last week. That Jordan Peele, the writer-director of Get Out, became the first black writer-director to have a movie debut at 100, or have their debut movie break 100 million. Well, now he's gone even further than that, and he's the highest-grossing original screenplay writer-director of all time. He took over for the people that made the guy who made Blair Witch Project.
Right.
So, like, there's been no other writer-director to have a debut movie premiered over at this much money.
That's badass. I can't wait to see that. I really want to see
I really want to see that.
Jurassic World 2 producer confirms that the T-Rex will be returning.
You know, I wonder if they're going to incorporate the new scientific news which hit this week.
What's that?
That the T-Rex was a gentle lover.
Oh.
Because they I guess scientists have discovered.
Was that on April Fool's Day?
No, this was actual news. But I guess scientists have discovered that they had a sensitive snout, and that they would rub snouts and like caress, and that was like how they
rubbing snouts.
Exactly. So that'd be kind of nice.
That's kind of gross,
a little bit,
but adorable. This is
terrifying.
I hate everything about this. I'm gonna read the headline. Chat room. If you're into this, let us know how you feel about this. I'm gonna read this headline. You guys ready? Michael Bay says, and now that's already they've already tuned out. Michael Bay said a thing. Just kidding. Michael Bay says there are 14 new Transformer stories in development.
Okay.
14.
There are well. I'm gonna.
Does that mean that doesn't mean movies?
I hope not, because that could also be cartoons. That could be books. That could be whatever.
I'm gonna say that's at least 8 movies.
Probably.
At least 8
Dude,
movies.
it's a cash cow for Bay. Why would he stop doing
But
it?
that's what I mean. Like, so Michael Bay is like, well, I can do this forever now.
Yeah. And he makes millions of dollars every one.
Well, might as well keep it going, but I hate everything about it. I stopped watching those movies after, I think, the second one, I want to say.
Yeah, I've seen all of them, but
I think I stopped after the one where...
It's a Transformer.
I think I stopped after the one where a homeboy was stuck in the ice, I think.
That was the second one.
Well, I'm done with him. Ian McKellen. Now, we all love Ian McKellen.
He's fantastic.
He's an amazing actor. He's been some absolutely iconic
He's Magneto. He's Gandalf.
Exactly. He actually turned down when the original actor for Dumbledore died.
Right.
He turned down that role, and it just this story just came up a couple days ago. But what I think is interesting, the reason that he turned it down.
Let's hear it.
He turned it down because the actor that played Dumbledore,
right,
didn't like Ian McKellen as an actor.
Really?
He had said some things about his acting. I can find an exact quote. It was something about he wasn't happy with. I don't want to say wooden because that always reminds me of dialogue from Star Wars. But Ian McKellen. But Harris was a known critic of McKellen's acting abilities, calling him technically brilliant but passionless.
Ooh.
Eek. So. And he basically said he didn't want to take over a role from an actor who didn't like him as an actor.
And the funny thing is, Richard Harris hated the role.
Oh yeah.
The only reason he took the role was because his grandchildren wanted him to.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And yeah, it's funny because, but that's kind of like who Richard Harris was. I mean, he was that very.
The number 14 just popped up in the chat like 8 times.
That's funny. He was very much that very passionate actor.
Yeah.
So I can kind of understand that, but I think Michael Gambon played it brilliantly. So
he did. He really did. And I'm like I said, Ian's done some really cool stuff. He didn't need that role as well. So
right.
And especially if he's going to feel like, well, the guy who I'm taking over for wouldn't have wanted me to do it anyway. You know what I mean?
It would have been really interesting though to have an openly gay actor playing a character that turned out to be openly gay.
Right. Right?
That would have been pretty cool. That would be interesting.
Yeah. Before I get to the really funny thing, Doctor Who season 10 is actually coming to theaters.
Cool.
The first episode.
Well, I mean, I think this is becoming more of a thing. Like they're doing it with the Inhumans too.
Exactly. So I thought this was really neat. There was a number of how many theaters real quick. Let me find it.
I'm guessing no more than a few hundred.
So it's going to be a special 2-night event on Monday, April 17th and Wednesday, April 19th at 7 o'clock. That is going to be in theaters nationwide for a special 2-night event. In addition to the Doctor Who Season 10 premiere, the event will also show the premiere episode of the Doctor Who spin-off series Class, which we've talked about.
Right.
Which features a special guest appearance by Peter Capaldi as the Doctor.
Yeah, they've actually already aired all the first 8 episodes. Well, the 8 episodes of the first season.
Oh, have they? Okay.
Yeah, it actually went on hiatus a couple months ago.
It says tickets for the premiere can be purchased online at Fathom Events website or the box office at any of the more than 550 theaters carrying the event.
See, I guessed it.
Which is pretty. I mean,
That's
we're
pretty
not
good
going to
size.
get it here, but
No.
it'd be really cool to be able to check that out.
Yeah, that means you should be able to get in
Major cities.
well, definitely major cities and most. I mean, like I would be surprised if it's not playing at the one in Atascadero at the Galaxy.
True.
This is hilarious.
Well, before we get to that
sorry.
one, Doctor Who, on the Doctor Who note, John Sims, the Master, is going to be returning for season 10. That's the male version of the Master.
He's good.
Yeah, he's phenomenal. I love the I can't remember the girl's name, the woman's name who played the female version.
Right.
But the guy, like, he was terrifying.
He was good, and I loved the episode that still had Matt Smith in the role, but where you discover that the theme song for Doctor Who is a riff of the Gallifrey Heartbeat.
Oh my god!
Oh, so good, because that's what it was when the Master was running for a minister seat.
Yep.
Oh, so good.
Yep. So a little bit of hilarity. Professional. I mean, and I get if you're a professional clown, you're going to be upset about this.
Okay.
I get it.
Right.
So professional clowns. Chat room's probably like, wait, what? Yes, professional clowns are furious over the new It trailer. And last week, was it last week or the week before?
Last week.
Last week we watched the It trailer.
Scared the crap out of Marshall.
And if you're a patron, or you become a patron, you have access to some of this stuff. Our trailer time, we had a little bit of a hiccup during that, and it kept pausing at the worst times.
Kept scaring Marshall.
Oh, it was scaring the mess out of me. I have It issues.
Dude, I love that scene where the balloon comes out from his face.
Nope, nope. Gross. So the bottom line is the It trailer upset some professional clowns.
Okay, I think the professional clowns should have two things to be more upset about.
Okay.
One, being professional clowns.
Yeah.
And two, John Wayne Gacy.
Well, here's the thing. Kids like clowns, but the thing is, it's not like It just came out today.
No, the book is 40 years old.
Yeah, he wrote that book decades ago. So the idea is that, granted they're doing a modern day iteration of it, and they did get the flack for the other clown stuff that happened or whatever. But, and I get if you feel like your profession's being, slighted or
right. No, I
or
totally
whatever.
get it. Right.
And we can mess around all day, but really what it comes down to is people are upset because it's coming out, but it's already been out. and
Exactly.
It's a thing.
Nice use of the pronoun and proper noun.
You see what I'm doing?
Nah.
Yeah, I like words.
Yes, you do.
Moving on.
Word blurred.
All right, man. A little release date stuff. Shockingly, sadly for me, because I can't wait for this, The Dark Tower.
Steve is also a huge Gunslinger fan.
Yeah, the Dark Tower is being delayed again. And so...
Did it give a reason?
Well, no. That's the thing. Again, there's no real reason. It says, Columbia Pictures revealed that the release date for The Dark Tower has now been changed to August 4th, 2017.
And it's still this year.
Yeah, it provides a bit of a switch in the studio's slate of films, causing the Emoji Movie to premiere a week early on The Dark Tower's initial release date of July 28th. So it's only a week, it seems. It looks like July, August, yeah. It's only a week, but it doesn't say why.
And this is, I mentioned this, I think, 2 weeks ago, that when you're dealing with release dates, this sort of thing always used to happen.
Yeah.
But we never had the internet, so we never got all this stuff. There's constant slate.
Hold on. What are you saying? We didn't always have the internet?
I know, right?
Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. But there's always a constant slate change, because if one studio moves a movie,
right,
it's gonna waterfall to a whole bunch of other movies because everybody's gonna be jockeying for a better release date.
Indeed. Footage from CinemaCon about The Dark Tower had a nice little nod to The Shining. There was a poster in the back or something like that.
Oh, that's cool. And there's actually some Shining news this week.
Oh, really?
I know. News on the Shining, a 30-something-year-old
we're talking
movie.
decades.
That one of the people that worked with Kubrick on it has talked about some deleted scenes that were filmed and never put into the final cut.
All right.
That would actually kind of explains the... You've seen The Shining, right?
Yeah.
Okay, at the very end of the movie, it zooms in on the picture and you see Jack in the 1920s ballroom scene.
When was the last time I saw that movie?
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
But basically, there was no explanation for it. Well, evidently, there's a couple of scenes that there was a scrapbook, and you actually see it in the final cut on Jack's desk at one point.
Okay.
But it's a scrapbook that showed the history of the hotel, the Overlook Hotel, and that's where that picture came from. So he had seen himself in it. and it kind of it's never explicitly said, but it kind of references that he is an entity that's like controlled by whatever spirit is in the hotel.
Oh, I get what you're saying.
And so he's
Okay.
like reincarnated.
Right.
So that is him, but it's not him. It's
I got you.
Yeah, so it's really kind of interesting.
All right, man. Well, let's get to some Universal stuff. All these things are going to go super quick. I want to talk about some convention stuff here in a minute, and then we'll get out of here. It's been a good show, dude.
Yeah, let's run it down.
Should I just drag it out a little? I'm just kidding.
Hey, I have a question. Will this mic fit?
Are you freaking kidding me?
All right, so it looks like DC Films Head said that he can't confirm that there's going to be a Wonder Woman sequel or not.
Any ideas why?
Because they want to see if it makes money.
Yeah, if it flops, they're not going to have a sequel.
If it makes money, yes.
Yeah, that's the thing. Sadly, that's the thing. And DC has a really interesting game they're playing right now. They really need Wonder Woman to do well, and they really need Justice League to do well. If they don't, they are going to have to revamp their cinematic universe, I think.
Well, I mean, regardless, I think the first big thing that they did was hiring Joss Whedon.
Yeah, and I think that's going to help them immensely. And then, if Wonder Woman does well, I think that really bodes well for Batgirl. Yeah. Justice League looks like a lighter version of what we've gotten so far, which is kind of nice. And then if that goes well, then we can definitely get an Aquaman movie, maybe a Flash movie, maybe a Cyborg movie. It just depends on where they go with this stuff. So,
and this is one thing that actually Marvel does, and actually not, I won't even say Marvel. This is something Berlanti does that DC does not.
Yeah.
And it's that he can really mix the lightheartedness with the dark.
Indeed.
And
he does it really well.
Yeah, and DCEU has not been able to get that done yet.
Right. And there were some moments in Firefly even, in that series that were really heavy.
Yeah, exactly. So Joss Whedon can handle it.
Yeah.
So honestly, you know what I think they should do? Just give the DCEU to Joss Whedon and Berlanti.
Done. All right. So speaking of Batgirl, Joss Whedon's Batgirl reportedly based on the New 52 version of Batgirl.
Okay.
Which I can get behind.
Yeah, so it's not going to be the Barbara Gordon that we know from The Killing Joke and further on.
Right.
Oracle and whatnot. So we'll see where it goes.
Yeah, see where it comes up. So Batman and Harley Quinn. There's going to be an animated movie called Batman and Harley Quinn, I believe.
When is there not?
Yeah, well, cool. But the voice cast has been revealed, and the best part about this,
Mark Hamill?
Nope, Kevin Conroy.
Oh,
the
nice.
guy who originally did the Batman voice for the Batman
series.
animated series, which I'm super excited about. Guess who's playing, because you haven't seen this yet, obviously. Guess who's playing the Harley Quinn voice? You only get one guess. You saw it already.
No, I didn't.
Oh.
What's her name from?
I'll give you one hint. Big Bang Theory. Which one of the Big Bang Theory?
Melissa Rauch? I love Melissa Rauch.
Melissa Rauch is gonna play Harley Quinn, which is
gonna be great.
Oh, it's gonna be awesome. So I'm super excited about that. I don't know when did this come out?
Yeah, if you don't know, she does the voice of she plays Bernadette in
little tiny, high pitched voice.
But that's not her actual voice.
Well, I don't even care.
No.
She's
But,
amazing.
No, she's gonna be really good.
I've never heard her real voice then.
Really? Yeah, it's actually not. It's deeper. It's
nifty. She does that? That's not her voice?
No.
I'm glad it's not, because I didn't think anybody had a voice like that. I'm sorry for anybody who's listening, which you're not, that has a voice like that. Okay, let's move on.
All right.
I'm excited for that animated series, though. I love... Oh, man. Dude, his name just flew out of my head.
Tim's?
Conroy.
Conroy.
Conroy. Phenomenal Batman. Phenomenal.
Oh, yeah.
Arrow. Okay, so this is the question I've been wanting to ask you about this. We've had back and forth about the Elicity crap from Arrow. You with me?
You hate the Elicity thing.
I'm not a fan of it, but here's the deal. They're going to go back to it, and they're going to explore why they broke up, because they kind of never deal with it. Like
they
all
didn't.
Of, like all of a sudden,
they both went into relationships.
And all of a sudden he's with what's her name, and she's off with what's his name who dies, and all this other stuff. So why? Just let it go.
I can think of two reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yep. One, within the Arrow the Arrow nucleus itself, she's becoming more of a full-fledged character.
Absolutely.
Especially since it's bringing more of her hacker background in. She's no longer just the assistant or the girlfriend. She's becoming more of her character, and she's standing up for more of her own voice. And so that I can understand.
Okay.
Second, especially if they start bringing the Doom World repercussions in, then she's not only just Felicity. She's because she has a mask and
she's
Legends.
also a superpower.
Right. She actually might be Oracle in that sense. So,
All right.
If that's where they're going with that, then maybe.
All right, I'll let it go. Whatever. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
I'm a couple episodes behind on Arrow right now, so we'll see what happens. Speaking of those shows, Legends of Tomorrow, there's an article here that talks about, and there's actually a line in the show where, because right now it's all about the Spear of Destiny.
Right.
And the Spear of Destiny is the spear that obviously pierces the side of Christ, and it can reshape reality, right? The executive producer is talking about why they would never go back to the crucifixion. Since they can play with time.
They can.
And they talk about, in the show, there was a one-off line, I believe
it's because
Jackson said it.
Right, well, because they were talking about that they needed Jesus' blood to destroy it.
Right.
And they said, well, why don't we just go back to the crucifixion, get it and
get
everything.
His blood.
And the captain said, well, there are certain things in time that you don't...
Yeah, was it Rip? Or I can't remember who
Rip.
said it. He said, that's one place we can't go.
Right.
And for obvious reasons, they can't go there.
No.
I mean...
for storyline aside, for political reasons, it would just be
religious reasons.
There's
too much there. But we did watch the wife and I did watch the finale last night, and that show is by far my favorite of all of the CW shows.
Right.
Mostly because it's an ensemble cast, but it's a little lighthearted. But there are some parts that are really dark.
Oh, absolutely.
And that show somehow manages to get a little of everything, which I just love. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to watching that, but it's gonna have to wait till the weekend.
No worries. Disney news: Lion King. Disney's eyeing Beyonce for the female lead in The Lion King.
Okay, does that mean she'll be playing Nala or will she be playing Sarabi?
Again, I don't know where they're going with this one. And so I have not seen Beauty and the Beast, and I actually haven't seen Jungle Book. I haven't seen any of the live action ones, actually. We have Mary Poppins coming. Are these actual just like take the cartoon and turn it into
some of them
live action?
Some of them are changed a little bit, like Maleficent was changed a little bit.
Right.
Jungle Book was tweaked a little bit, but Beauty and the Beast is fairly representative.
That's what I thought. But I'm wondering if they're going to just take Lion King and turn it into live action, who she would be. I was just curious. If they're not going to change anything.
Well, it's going to be live action, but it's still going to be, like for Jungle Book, it's still going to be lions. It's not, so it's just going to be a voice acting.
Are they going to be lions?
Yes. But like they're bringing back James Earl Jones to be doing the voice of Mufasa.
Which we talked about, which is awesome.
We did. But so that's where it's going to get kind of weird because that's an obviously much older authoritative voice. It's going to be really hard to have Beyonce playing Sarabi, who's his wife. Especially since in the original movie, this is what I love about the original Lion King, is that the woman who played Sarabi in that movie is the woman that played the queen wife of James Earl Jones in Coming to America.
Oh, I've been wanting to rewatch that movie.
Right,
I
so
love
it's great
that
that they got those two. They were African king and queens there,
and then they come over. Yeah,
exactly. I think it would make more sense for her to play the Nala role, which was done by Moira Kelly in the original.
See, I disagree. I think it's backwards. I think I would go the other way.
Really?
Yeah. Only because the last time I saw Beyonce, this is gonna be weird. She was on The Voice recently, right?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, okay. Well, I don't want to go there because in case I'm getting people mixed up. But anyway, it doesn't matter. The point is, I think she would do.
Well, I think she could do either.
Yeah.
I think the combination of having her with James Earl Jones on their voices on screen at the same time would just sound a little clunky.
Yeah. All right. Well, you can't. I mean, if you're sitting across from James Earl Jones, you're going to sound clunky.
Oh, well, given.
All right, for once we only have one piece of Deadpool news. Pierce Brosnan basically said he's
he's not playing Cable.
He's not going to be playing Cable
because that was a rumor that came out this last week. So basically, everyone's getting out of the way for Michael Shannon to take the role.
And do you think that's going to be it?
And unfortunately, actually, I think he's kind of like the hot person to go to for that type of role now.
Yeah.
I think he's going to do fine.
Sure.
I think other people would be better.
Yeah. Well, again, I don't think with Ryan Reynolds at the helm of this whole thing, I think he's going to make sure that it's going to work.
Right.
But
for me, it's just that weird where they're doing cross company.
I see what you're saying.
Casting him because he played Zod in Batman v Superman.
That's right. That's right. We have some homecoming news.
Awesome.
Not a high school homecoming, but Spider-Man homecoming.
Right.
Marissa Tomei wanted to be an older Aunt May, and this article is interesting. I read it earlier. Actually, when I put this together yesterday and today, she was kind of expecting to play an older role,
Right.
and they said, "Oh, this is what you're doing," and she even kind of said at some point, like, "Why don't you make me older?" And they're like, "No."
She's in her 50s in
Yeah.
real life, and in the movie she's looking like she's your age. She's in her late 30s.
Yeah, and she looks young.
And they're referencing
she looks
her
good.
as a hot Aunt May.
Right, and so she expected once she got the material, like, oh, I expected to be
Right.
aged up.
Exactly.
And she's like, why don't you age me up? They're like, no, you're good. And so I just thought that was interesting.
Right.
Michael Keaton also talks about his crew, which I'm not going to get into as the Vulture because there's some spoilers in there.
Exactly.
But I thought that was kind of cool that he's talking about the people that run with him and the type of people that run with him. So I thought that was kind of cool. And Spider-Man's going to have a version of Jarvis that's in his homecoming costume. And I think this has to do with when he's first training.
Yeah, well, this makes sense because it comes out that Tony designed his costume.
Yeah, he designed his costume. There's actually a line in the trailer, one of the trailers, where he says, I'm going to take that suit back from you.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm nothing without the suit. And he says, if that's the case, then you don't deserve it, kind of thing. And I think that's a really cool idea. And there's going to be a lot of that. Obviously, Stark's taking on a mentor role in the film. I'm really eager to see this film, mostly because obviously I love Robert Downey Jr., but this Spider-Man and I think this storyline is going to be really good for Sony and Marvel as far as Spider-Man goes. So
really quick, did you see the because last week I think I talked about it and I put it up on Pinterest, but the newest Homecoming poster, and it showed Peter Parker as Spider-Man laying back on some water outside across the river from New York, and you see the Avengers Tower in the background.
Oh, sick.
Okay, that's a really cool poster, but then Deadpool came out with one because it said Spider-Man Homecoming is Spider-Man Homecoming, right? And then it showed Deadpool, and he had flipped Spider-Man into the water, and he's looking at the camera angle, and he says Deadpool 2 is coming soon too, or something like that.
That's cool.
I put that in Pinterest today.
Nice. One last thing on Spider-Man Homecoming. Amy Pascal reveals how Marvel and Sony came together over Spider-Man. And this is something we've talked about, how they finally figured out, like, they kind of needed each other. It's kind of a cool little article, and I liked it a lot. But really, really what it comes down to is we've done this before. How can we do it better? And how can we figure out how to work with Marvel to make it work for everybody?
Exactly.
So it's actually kind of cool. So real quick, let's hop over to Marvel. Kevin Feige says Stan Lee recently filmed the best cameo he's ever done. And now here's why I wanted to highlight this, because we've been talking about Stan Lee,
right,
and his health issues, and stuff like that. So let me find.
Well, he said he recently filmed it, so it's got to be for something in production. So I'm guessing Black Panther.
Well, and I don't think it says it in here what it is actually. But what it is that he does a cameo in every movie. But what I think is what's happening is any movie that's coming up pretty soon, they might be trying to get the cameos in.
Right.
Only because he's 94 years old, and that's why I mentioned it.
Right. Well, the only one in production right now, I think, is Black Panther.
Yeah. So it'd be great if that's the one, because the article never says. So
cool.
We have Bill Paxton also. Speaking of people
who passed away recently.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. paid tribute, and again, I stopped watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. after somewhere in season 3, 2.5, 3, something like that. But in one of the latest episodes, they paid tribute to Bill Paxton at the end. Basically, said this episode is in memory of him. So
Cool.
I'm glad they did that. It's super sad. And again, that was one of the things that was an ongoing project, and I liked that character. I actually saw him in the show, so I watched it enough to get to him. But
right, and actually, talking about this, I about a month ago, or maybe a month and a half ago, I referenced that Carrie Fisher had 2 more appearances on Family Guy coming up this season.
Yeah.
One of them happened this last Sunday, and it was pretty funny. It was just a little cutaway scene of Peter saying that he, said, and I didn't know what to do with that watermelon rind or whatever. And it shows him at work one day, and it has him wearing a watermelon hat and watermelon shorts held up by suspenders. And it shows his boss, Carrie Fisher's character, saying, that's a great outfit, Peter. And then she walks away, and he just looks at himself and says, Peter, you have to take more chances with yourself.
That's great.
It's just classic Peter. It's hilarious.
Man. So, yeah, and I agree with the chat, Carillion Run. I mean, JT, I get you, man. It is a really good show. We watched, I want to say, somewhere into season 3, maybe the hiatus of season 3, we kind of stopped and didn't go back.
There's just way too much to watch.
I know, and that's eventually I started having to kind of get to the point of, okay, I can only watch so many things, and then when something really cool comes along, like Riverdale and Iron Fist, it's like, okay, now I got to make time for those. But I'm watching Big Bang Theory. I'm also watching The Mick. I'm watching.
Yep. You don't want to see the list of TV shows.
I mean, but the list of shows the wife and I are watching. We watch Flash. We watch Arrow. We watch Legends of Tomorrow. We watch Mick. We watch Big Bang. We watch so many things on top of. I prefer to watch. I like movies. Right. And so every once in a while I'll throw a movie in there, and then that's a whole night right there. So it's hard to keep up with this stuff. So Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Supergirl were the 2 that kind of fell off to the side for us, sadly. But we'll hopefully get back to them in the summer.
Yeah, so. There's this great T-shirt I saw from T-Fury, and it's about procrastination. It said, I have so much to do, but first I'm going to consume every single piece of pop culture.
And then there's that. Yeah, we also watch Doctor Who. We watch, we watch so many shows. And then we have shows we watch with the kids. You know what I mean?
Liv and Maddie.
We watch, thanks for calling me out.
I called you out.
We watched all the Fuller House stuff, which is phenomenal.
Okay, I did actually watch
Fuller House is off the hook, dude. Don't get me started. Okay, let's not get derailed. Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Baby Groot will not have any of Groot's memories.
Oh, interesting.
I've heard this. I've heard some other shows kind of talking about this, and doesn't it kind of make sense? Because if Groot dies, quote unquote dies, and it's burst into things, and he comes back as one fragment of himself, it would make sense he doesn't have the memories of the other stuff. But
okay, well, if you're looking at it like tree-wise, yeah, he loses all of his rings, which is his history. And
right. So, I mean,
I can see that.
We'll see how it goes. When it comes down to it. James Gunn basically talks about why Bradley Cooper doesn't play Rocket on set. It's basically because he's not a mocap actor.
He's not.
And
it's a totally CGI character.
And it's really cool, this article, because it talks about the person who does all the mocap, how he's able to go on all fours and do the walk and all this stuff on stage. And I think that's badass.
Yeah, well, it's the difference between having somebody like Bradley Cooper and having somebody like Javed Best or like Andy Serkis or... there's actually some scenes that came out recently about some behind-the-scene footage of Jungle Book with Benedict Cumberbatch doing the mocap for Bagheera.
Oh, really? Wow. So The Collector will not be in Volume 2, which I alluded to in trailer time. And because, and we've talked about this before, because it's all focused on characters, like this particular set of characters, there really wasn't a place for the Collector in this story.
It would still make it a little too much, especially since they're focusing on the ride at Disneyland. It would be kind of like over too much.
Exactly.
Thank you, JT, for saying I am Groot.
I am Groot, indeed. New details reportedly reveal Sylvester Stallone's role. I personally didn't open this.
I don't want to know.
Yeah, and if you like spoilers, I put it in here only for that reason. If you want to know who Sylvester Stallone's character is in Guardians of the Galaxy 2, jump in, go for it. I don't want to know. And the next couple things I want to talk about have to do with Defender stuff. Okay?
Right, the Netflix.
Jessica Jones, Season 2 production is going to start in New York, obviously. And there was a date, I believe. I don't remember dates.
And that's actually one thing I liked about Jessica Jones is it seemed to be more than Daredevil. It actually showed more of the exterior skyline and stuff in New York.
Exactly.
Because it does take place in Hell's Kitchen.
Yeah, it says production is said to be setting up at West 101st Street and Broadway, which is used for exterior shots of Jessica Jones' home and Alias investigations in Season 1. It doesn't know exactly where we'll find Jessica in the beginning of Season 2. Oh, it doesn't have a date. Okay. Doesn't matter.
But who is the Oscar nominee they cast?
Oh, wouldn't you like to know, sir?
I would like to know.
An Oscar nominee cast in a mysterious role in Jessica Jones Season 2 is, drumroll please, while I find the name. I'm just kidding. It is, where is it? Janet McTeer. EU reports that the White Queen and Damages star Janet McTeer is joining Jessica Jones as undisclosed character who have an enormous impact on Jessica's life.
Yeah, she was just nominated this past year.
Mm-hmm. I like her. She's cool.
Awesome.
So, I personally really like Jessica Jones. I've been considering rewatching it, actually.
It is really good.
Mostly because the wife didn't finish watching with me, and I kind of want to get her to watch it, but it is what it is.
Yep.
Daredevil Season 3, speaking of filming, is going to start later this year as well.
Makes sense.
And Defenders, there is a premiere date, finally, for the Defenders.
Let's hear it.
Are you ready?
Yep.
I couldn't be more amped for this. So in that trailer that's on the screen right now, for those of you watching, the date is actually because it stops. Maybe I didn't stop it at the right time. Oh, okay. So it says, when Jessica Jones notices a security camera and she destroys it, the footage ends at timestamp 8/18/2017, which seems to signal that Marvel's Defenders will release on August 18th, 2017.
Makes sense. I was actually going to guess October, but yeah.
That's pretty badass. And I love that she hits that camera out. Marvel and Netflix launched a viral Defenders website. There is a website that goes along with this,
right?
Which has some clips and stuff like that, which is pretty cool.
Okay, speaking about just pop culture websites really quick,
Yeah.
did you know the original Space Jam website is still up?
Space Jam?
Seriously.
Oh.
And
Aren't they redoing that?
They're in talks to do it.
Oh, that's right.
But seriously, do yourself a favor and just Google Space Jam website. Look at it, because it's still, you can still click on everything in it and everything. It's still an active website.
Oh, that's awesome. All right. Last thing here before we get to convention news, Infinity War. Chris Evans begins shooting in Avengers Infinity War in May. And what I found interesting about this, there was one thing he said, because this isn't the first time we've said, oh, so-and-so is going to start shooting Infinity War.
Right, well, because
this
everybody
time.
has different start dates.
Yeah, but this is a huge movie, dude. He said they've been filming since February. I don't start until May, he says.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
68 major characters, not counting just B-roll footage.
Anyway, on a side note, he says, my contract is up. He said, I have Avengers 3 and 4. We do Avengers 3 now. 4 is the latter part. And then after that is the end of my contract. So there's a little bit of other news out there I didn't put in here about Robert Downey Jr., he'll be done before Evans, basically.
Right. Because he started sooner.
Yeah, and
Chris Hemsworth is ending soon, too.
Exactly. So there's going to be some... There's going to have to be
changeover.
Yeah, there's going to have to be some maneuvering there.
Because they can't afford to be paying those guys, because seriously,
God, so
Downey
much
Jr.
money.
makes $50 million plus a movie now.
That's so much money.
I mean, granted, a lot of it is back end,
What
but...
are you going to do with all that money?
Yeah.
I have a hard time wrapping my mind around that, but moving on. All right, convention news, WonderCon. I put a link in here, and I'm just going to pull one thing out of this. There was a WonderCon wrap-up on SDCC, an unofficial blog, which I get a lot of my con news from. This was kind of cool. They put some people basically, not testimonies, I guess, but people saying what their favorite parts of the con was.
Right.
And there was one interesting thing here where somebody was saying how they compared the Comic-Con San Diego to WonderCon. And it says, this was my very first WonderCon experience. I have to say that my favorite part of WonderCon was actually the experience of it all and the little difference between San Diego Comic-Con convention and WonderCon. As a longtime Comic-Con attendee and a newbie at WonderCon, I found myself comparing the two. And he said, I fully enjoyed the sales floor and the variety of booths and artists exhibited there. While it's still no comparison to the larger, more spectacular booths found at SDCC, I found the smaller artists alley and exhibitors a wonderful variety. Finally, although there were crowds, I enjoyed the ability to be able to find places to sit and relax without having security shoo me away. So there's these little things that, and we see the difference when we're going to go to Silicon Valley Comic-Con soon.
Gosh, that's just like in a few weeks.
It's like week after next. Yeah, a couple weeks. But the idea there is that we were doing kind of the same thing.
Right.
It's like there are some things that are similar, but really what it comes down to is one is gigantic and the other one is just not.
It's hundreds of thousands of people.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so San Diego Comic-Con news. Her Universe is coming back for their 4th annual fashion show.
Which is one of the big events.
And Her Universe is just a really cool geek line of clothing and stuff. And so if you're into that and you're down there, that's super important. We'll get to our personal stuff here in just a second. Hotel developers sue convention center as expansion plans launch. You want to help me with this a little bit? Because this is the one that I sent you.
Yeah, it's... I guess the city and their convention center decided to start coming up with convention plans without looking at who actually had property rights and stuff. And so evidently there's a company that had been trying to get a hotel built down on the marina, and they're still putting their pitch together, and this is like making it more difficult for them to do.
Yeah. So we've been talking about the expansion of the convention center for a while. There was talk of the big complex. We talked about months and months and months ago.
Right, with a new stadium and everything, that fell through.
So I think we've been talking about this. We think maybe eventually they'll end up in Anaheim.
I think it's going to have to happen eventually.
Yeah, which is sad because, as we talked about a few weeks ago, San Diego Comic-Con brings in a silly amount of money for the city.
Silly amount of money
for San Diego. So
yeah, well, I mean, not only just the business and stuff, but it brings in so much in tax revenue with hotel taxes and everything.
And part of this story that we were just talking about is that hotel taxes will go up.
Yeah, they're going to have to go up because that's how they're paying for the expansion.
That's how they're going to pay for the expansion.
If that does fall through and it does move to Anaheim, though, how do you think that's going to affect WonderCon?
I mean,
because they're owned by the same company.
Yeah, and the problem is they happen so close together. I think they might
a few months off, but yeah.
Yeah, but I think they just would have to. I think it'd just be two conventions in the same spot.
Yeah,
one bigger than the other. I mean,
yeah.
But then again, I wonder how the numbers would change with the location.
That's the big thing. Yeah,
you know what I mean. Well, that's to be seen. All right, last thing. San Diego Comic-Con. Well, SDCC unofficial blog does a podcast.
Right.
And they do live podcasts on big dates like pre-registration, open registration, hotel, all that kind of stuff.
Sorry to interrupt you really quick. Good night, JT. Thanks for listening.
Good night, dude. Thank you for being here. You're awesome. Thanks for staying up with us. So anyway, going back to they're going to do a live podcast on open registration, which is this Saturday,
right?
April 8th. And what's cool about this, by the time you listen to this, obviously this will already pass, but the podcast will be up.
Right.
And so what I wanted to kind of put out there for people is, if you're thinking about going to San Diego Comic-Con, listen to this podcast, check Twitter on that Saturday, just kind of look back and look at what, badge sales and stuff like that, because there's a lot that goes into this, and we have some friends trying to get badges. Your brother's trying to get badges.
Yep.
I mean,
and we're teaming them up so you get better chances on the random number generation.
Yeah, and this website is they've been doing it long enough to where they have a lot of resources.
This is Tony Kim, right?
No, this isn't Tony Kim.
Sorry,
this
my
is
bad.
the other guys. But the bottom line is these guys cover all of this stuff. So if you're looking for help, if you're looking for how all this stuff works, if you're thinking about going maybe for next year, definitely do that. So I want to wish everybody is it from the future? If they're listening to this after the fact?
Yes.
From the future, or is it from the past?
To the future from the past.
To the future from the past, please, best of luck, and to you, sir, and your brother, trying to get badges for Comic-Con.
Saturday.
Open Reg is the big day.
It is. It's the hard to get day.
Indeed. Anything else?
That's it for me this week.
Are you sure?
Yep.
Yeah.
And nothing next week. So I will take the reins next week and run the streaming.
Yeah. Well, we will. Stupid. Anyway, thanks for tuning in to The Usual Podcast. If you have comments or questions, you can find us at theusualpodcast.com. Email us at theusualpodcast@gmail.com. And we are on Facebook, Google+, Pinterest, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitch. Thank you for everybody who watches us on Twitch. We love you. You can find me at Darth Pops on Twitter. Will is at I am Will Griggs. We're on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, and Google Play. Please take the time, give us more positive ratings, and give us comments and all that kind of stuff. Help us move up in the internet rankings.
You want to be our next 5-star rating.
Indeed. Patreon.com/usual podcast if you want to help us out and you want access to our trailer time, which we do in the beginning of the show every week. In addition to blooper reels and access to the shows at least a day early. $1 or $2 an episode will do that for you. And it helps us out. It helps us get to conventions, pays our fees, and all that kind of stuff, which we love. And thank you to all our patrons who do that. And audibletry.com/usual podcast we mentioned earlier in the show. April 11th, the new Thrawn novel comes out.
Yes.
If you want to really use your free trial on us efficiently, get a big ass giant book like Game of Thrones or a Brandon Sanderson novel or something like that, and really utilize that and go for it. And that gives us $15, which we love.
Yes, it does. Helps us pay for parking at Comic-Con.
Yeah, among other things. Well, look, honestly, it helps us in a lot of ways.
Yes, it does.
I'm not going to say what I buy with that. I'm joking. Anything else, my friend?
Trojan Man.
Oh, my God. Seriously? Anyway, we got to get out of here.
No,
Thank you to everybody who joined us in the chat room. We love you guys all very much.
Yeah, make sure you guys have a fun over our week off.
Indeed. We'll see you all in 2 weeks. See you all in 2 weeks. Have a good one. Later.
Peace.
It was weird because I usually say see you all next week, and then it was 2 weeks and it screwed me up.
Yeah, it did.
Moving on. Anyway, thank you everybody who joined us live. We are going to jump out of here.
Yep. Thanks, Shoot Straight. Have a good night.
Thank you. Thanks for being here, guys. What else are we missing? Anything else? Did Mock stick around the whole time?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Yeah. Fine. Be that way, dude. I should stop recording soon. All right, guys. We are going to go. We got some stuff to do. Time crunch getting late over here. Have a good night. Thanks, chat room. You guys are awesome. I'm awesome.
There you are.
Oh, RJ. Later. See ya.